that ArriveCan has obviously been a very important tool during COVID-19 and remains important for those people that enter into Canada to identify whether they are appropriately vaccinated. But increasingly, ArriveCan is also being used to facilitate and accelerate entrance into Canada through customs data entry, which in many cases makes it quite fast and quite efficient to enter into Canada.
I hope you have kids, and I hope that you know what it's like for the children.
When you travel, there's consequences if you don't follow the rules. Okay? So this under the Quarantine Act, unfortunately, the Quarantine Act, there's still rules that you must follow.
Sure, yeah, rules. Just like in World War II. There are lots of rules then too.
Sir, there's no need for rhetoric.
You have my passport. Okay. Why not let's just do the paperwork and get this over with?
Because they want the app. The government wants the app. Let me ask you, what's the reason why you don't want to do it?
I don't think I should have to.
No, but there's got to be a reason to it, though.
I don't think I should have to.
But there has to be.
I'm traveling. This is my phone. It's my app.
Okay.
I'm just having myself on it.
Canada's failed pandemic response continues to free fall into an authoritarian abyss, and the ArriveCan app used to track and trace Canadian citizens is no exception. In this report, I am going to share with you just what Rebel News is going to do about it. So let's dive in. Tamara Ugolini here with Rebel News, bringing you another Canadian Liberal government COVID-related mess causing havoc and expensive chaos in Canadian airports that have already been turned into biotechnical hellscapes with endless wait times. Liberal Prime Minister Justin Trudeau claims to be following the science, but the science seems to be different everywhere and most undemocratic in Canada, a country previously hailed as the most free and democratic in the world. But Trudeau's science often comes in the form of this bizarre authoritarian technocracy, which is no surprise given the magnitude of nonsense coming out of Canadian airports, namely the largest hubs like Toronto Pearson International Airport, where the ArriveCan app has been an abysmal failure and holdup for thousands of travelers and maybe even more. And now we're going to do something about it. Let me tell you about the petition that we've launched at noarrivecan.com, where we are calling on the federal government to quit adding more madness and crushing financial penalties onto Canadian travelers. But we also have a plan to fight back legally. And before I explain the legal action that we plan to take against this biomedical totalitarianism, let me highlight some of the key failures with this response. See, the logic used by the Justin Trudeau Liberals is that by downloading a government-mandated tracking app with a coinciding QR code, like the ArriveCan app, this is somehow meant to keep Canadians safe against a respiratory virus. This rule recently left a number of Canadian children aged 12 to 14 abandoned in Switzerland because their ArriveCan QR code was not properly attested. It's likely that these children are all fully vaccinated, as is the sad requirement of Scouts Canada. So it really doesn't matter whether or not you were coerced into these injections to travel, because the ArriveCan app isn't really about keeping Canadians safe from a virus. It's also about this self-described part of being an ongoing effort to modernize cross-border travel. Yet our passports, covered by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, say clearly on the inside cover that we have the right to pass freely without delay or hindrance. Except that all of this appears to be an intentional hindrance and delay. This was especially true the day that the entire Rogers network went down, leaving the Canadian Border Services Agency scrambling to revert back to paper copies of the vaccine certificates when the ArriveCan app was down due to that Canada-wide outage. Especially if you look at some of the videos coming out of the airports directly, such as this one that I'm about to show you, where Canadians are being harassed, belittled, and threatened by public health officials while police say that they are working under public health. Since when?
I'm a public officer, public health Canada. I'm designated in the province of Ontario to issue contravention fines if people do not comply.
Uh-huh.
So if you do want to comply,
give us a
your
fine.
option, yeah, you'd see
We'll take
you
a fine.
can't.
We'll take a fine.
That's fine. And your passport's right, you're fine.
No, you don't need our passport.
Yes,
for
I
the
do.
fine.
You can't tell me what
I
to
will-
do with my
I will
job.
hold on to
You cannot
it.
tell me what is required of
But
me
I will
when I write
hold
a
on
fine.
to
I
the
need-
passport.
And then you
I also need to verify your vaccination
No,
status.
we do not need to discuss
Yeah.
that information.
That's another fine. Like,
Yeah, like,
Okay.
Good.
should read
Put,
it, please.
put it on.
Please
Put,
read it.
add it to the fine.
You
Add
need
it to the
read
fines.
up on the law.
No, 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 no.
This
Add it
is
to the
fine.
fines.
You can-
Add it to the
you can-
fines.
you
Add it
can
to the
add that
fines.
to the
If
fine.
they're the
Okay.
bylaws, sure.
Okay, because I have to write out fines, I have to fill out forms. Those forms are going to take about an hour.
I thought you'd do that. Yeah, sure.
Sir, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's.
Oh yes, this is very cakey. This is so
yes, life
cakey.
has
So
been
I'm
a
just
cakewalk.
telling
Yeah, this is so
It's been a
cakey.
cakewalk. I hope
This
you
is-
have kids, and I hope that you know what it's like for the children.
When you
going
travel,
forward.
there's consequences if you don't follow the rules. Okay, so these under the Quarantine Act, unfortunately,
yeah.
the Quarantine Act, there's still rules that you must follow.
Sure,
if
yeah,
you're
rules. Just
international-
like
if you're
in
traveling.
World War II. There are lots of rules then too.
Sir, there's no need for rhetoric.
Oh,
There's no
then
need
just
for
do your
this
job and
rhetoric,
take our passports and give it and
Yes,
take an
I need your
hour.
boarding passes, sir. I need additional information. Boarding passes, vaccine status.
You don't need our vaccine.
Give us a
Yes,
bill,
I do.
please.
Why do you need
What's
a
that word
boarding
Under
again?
the Quarantine Act,
Give us the
I'm
ticket for it,
asking you
then.
as a federal officer, what's required. You need information. You need to comply, otherwise
So then,
it's fine.
We're not
please add the
disclosing
fine
that
to it. So
information,
please
so
add
you
the
can add
fine.
These are the same public health overlords from the Public Health Agency of Canada who don't even know if their travel restrictions work because, and I quote, the Public Health Agency of Canada does not collect information related to travel-based transmission of COVID-19 as part of the national COVID-19 surveillance. And yet look at what they did to this 86-year-old quadruple-vaccinated father arriving back into his home country. They threatened him with $5,000 worth of fines for not downloading their app, but he doesn't even have a cell phone.
Travels on his own, I travel on my own. I have the ArriveCan app and he does not.
okay.
He has his proof of documentation showing that he's been vaccinated. That's all that's required.
No, he has to do the ArriveCan. So we can put him onto your account that you've done. How come you don't want to do it?
Why should I have to?
Because it's a requirement to get into Canada.
What if he was flying by himself?
I will be flying by myself, and I don't have a cell phone.
Yeah, but that's
So
I'm
what
saying.
does he do?
Put it on hers.
No.
But if I'm flying by myself, how can I do
Are
that?
you guys related?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the problem with putting it on your account?
I don't think I should have to.
Why not? What's the
Nancy,
issue?
Nancy, never mind. This is bureaucracy gone amok.
I know.
But you know this. That's why you have to do it, right? This is one of the requirements. It's part of the Quarantine Act, right? To get back in.
Well, let's see. You've got my COVID shots. I've had 4 of them.
Okay, that's good.
You have my passport.
Okay.
Why not let's just do the paperwork and get this over with?
Because they want the app. The government wants the app. Let me ask you, what's the reason why you don't want to do it?
I don't think I should have to.
No, but there's got to be a reason to it. No,
I don't think I should have to.
but there has to be. A
It's
specific
I'm
reason.
traveling. This is my phone. It's my app.
Okay.
I'm just having myself on it.
But is it really a requirement of the Quarantine Act? Or is this another example where the government is overplaying its hand and not acting within the scope of the law? We are going to study the Act and the Constitution to determine just that. But we don't want to waste any time. And so we are immediately launching this petition at noarrivecan.com in partnership with the registered charity called the Democracy Fund. All of your donations will go directly to the Democracy Fund, who help to litigate important civil liberties cases in Canada, and your contribution there will qualify as a taxable charitable donation. At that special website, again, noarrivecan.com, you can sign our petition that calls for the Orwellian ArriveCan app to be abolished, and you can chip in to cover the legal fees of an onboarded client who will be chosen on the merit of being a strong charter challenge case. We haven't found that case yet, but we have a few in mind. And I know that with the dozens of stories out there and these ongoing videos on social media, we will have no problem finding a good, sound case. Because I have a sneaky suspicion that this app, meant to, quote, modernize cross-border travel as part of that partnership between the Canadian government, Air Canada, Pearson Airport, and the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation Airport in Montreal, and others, with the creepy World Economic Forum's brainchild known as the Known Traveler Digital Identity Platform, also called KTDI. And it needs to be challenged. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. Enough with these airports and their ridiculous restrictions. They're not meant to be biomedical public health enforcement ports. If you agree that this app is insidious and useless to stop a seasonal respiratory virus, then head over to our petition at noarrivecan.com. Sign the petition and chip in if you can to help our legal case through the registered charity called the Democracy Fund. That's noarrivecan.com.